After regaining his trail in the hills of Emmanuel, the heroes have tracked Gollum to the Dead Marshes, into which he has fled in a last-ditch effort to avoid pursuit. Feeling that the hunt is coming to a close, the heroes enter the treacherous marshlands, ready to capture the creature alive. Welcome back to Wolfgame. We are here for another playthrough of The Lord of the Rings, the card game. So we have finished up the 3 quests from the core set. Today I'm jumping ahead just a little bit to the 5th adventure pack in that first Shadows of Mirkwood cycle. So this is 5 scenarios past the escape from Dol Guldur that we played last time. And the reason that I'm jumping ahead is there is a very active community of Lord of the Rings card game players online, and the Living Card Gamers YouTube channel as well as Card Talk's Second Breakfast channel are putting out regular challenges for players to take a specific type of deck against specific scenarios and to come back and share how that went for them. So that's what this video is. This is me taking on a challenge to play the Dead Marshes quest with just 1 hero instead of 3. And one last quick note before we jump into the game. I do plan for the Lord of the Rings card game playthroughs to be a continuing series on the channel, along with any additional content I'm doing. So I would love your feedback. I hope to eventually make it through all of the expansions. So tell me in the comments below where you would like me to start. Would you like me to begin with a specific cycle, start a campaign saga playthrough? Is there specific heroes or a type of deck you would like to see in one of the coming playthroughs? Give me your feedback in the comments below, and I will take that into account as I am planning out where to begin next after this playthrough you're watching now. And just a quick plug for you to support this channel and this series of playthroughs. First off, just give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you'd like to do something more, I have linked a Patreon page, link in the description box below, where you have an opportunity to provide additional support to the Wolfgame channel. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the Dead Marshes. Let's start by taking a look at Aragorn and what he can do for us this quest. So this version of Aragorn will let us pay for Spirit Sphere cards, and then his ability, if we exhaust him, he reduces the threat of a location in the staging area by his willpower, and then if his willpower is greater than that location's threat, we get to put some progress on it. So if we get location locked, then his ability will help us take a little bit more control and clear out some of those locations. Now, the Dead Marshes has a keyword we need to look at, escape, which, just like questing, when you're required to make an escape test, you exhaust a character to commit their willpower to the escape test. Then you reveal cards for their escape value. If they don't have a written escape value, it is 0. Otherwise, it'll say 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 5. And if the willpower of your characters is equal to or greater than the escape value you reveal, then you pass the test. Otherwise, you fail the escape test. If the final escape test has failed, then you have to reset the quest deck and start at the beginning. The full scenario rules are here if you want to pause any of those frames to see in more detail. And now we'll proceed to stage 1A of the quest. You have followed Gollum's trail for days and are now closing in fast pursuit. In a last-ditch effort to escape you, the creature has fled to the Dead Marshes. Setup. Search the encounter deck for Gollum and add it to the staging area. Shuffle the encounter deck, then reveal 1 card per player from the encounter deck and add it to the staging area. So I set aside Gollum here. If we take a look at him, if he ever has 8 or more resource tokens on him, you have to shuffle him back into the encounter deck. So essentially he escapes and you have to find him. And at the end of each quest phase, we do have to perform an escape test, dealing 1 card per player for that escape test. So we're playing solo, so that'll just be 1 card each round after the quest phase. So let's go ahead and deal our starting hand. We get an Athelian Lookout, a Curious Brandybuck, another Curious Brandybuck, and another Curious Brandybuck. I swear I shuffled this deck, but we get an Unexpected Courage, a Test of Will. So there's a couple good cards there, but I don't really need 3 Curious Brandybucks right out of the gate. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle the deck and try one more time. Okay, we get an Unexpected Courage, that's good. Test of Will, again. Master of the Forge. Ring of Bear here, that's really good. The Ancient Mathoms, and another Ring of Bear here, which allows Aragorn to also pay for lore cards that we have in our hand. So now a resource, and we need to reveal a card from the setup instructions. We get this location, the Heart of the Marshes, which has a nasty effect for escape tests once it's the active location.
Yes, yes, said Gollum. All dead, all rotten. Elves and men and orcs, the dead marshes. There was a great battle long ago, yes. So they told him when Smeagol was young. When I was young before the Precious came. It was a great battle. Tall men with long swords. And terrible elves and orcs shrieking. They fought on the plain for days and months at the Black Gates. But the marshes have grown since then. Swallowed up the graves. Always creeping.
Now, hats off to all those who survived the Gollum impersonation. Let's go ahead and draw our card and start the first round. So we got Strider, which is the best thing we could possibly get on this first round. So this is going to let us quest without exhausting. We're going to spend our one resource, put this on Aragorn. He gets an additional 2 willpower and doesn't have to exhaust to quest while there's 2 or fewer characters in play. So I'm going to use this blue die here to indicate his current willpower of 4. And we'll set that here to the side. Now I'm going to go ahead and commit Aragorn to the quest. And again, that Strider is perfect because he doesn't have to exhaust. So here he's committing to the quest, but he is still ready. And we have 4 willpower going up against that 3 in the staging area. And we draw the Marsh Worm, which has a threat of 1. And it has a high engagement cost, so we're just going to leave him up there. And we're questing 4 against 4 in the staging area. And now we have to perform an escape test. So we are going to exhaust Aragorn, put his 4 willpower against the escape test, draw a card. And just confirming, you just need to take 1 card per player. So we just need to take 1 card for the escape test. And that is a 0, so we pass the test. And that's it for the round. So now we'll go ahead and ready Aragorn. We'll raise our threat by 1. We can take a resource, draw another card, and we got the Steward of Gondor. That is amazing. So we just need to get a Song of Kings now to be able to play that leadership card from our hand. So that's the next thing I'm looking for to get out of the deck so that we can build up our resource generation. So we're going to go ahead and travel to this here, which does increase the escape value of any cards during escape tests. So hopefully we can quest through that one as quickly as possible. So now I'm going to save that resource in case I needed the test of will. So we'll commit him to the quest. I'll just set that there as a marker. And we get a treachery card here. And this says to raise our threat by 1 for each character currently committed to a quest. So that'll raise our threat by 1. Questing with 4 against 1, so we get to put 3 out onto this active location. And for combat phase this time, we are not going to engage that worm. We'll leave him up there for just the 1 threat that he's offering. And need to do the escape test for Gollum. So we'll reveal that. And this is it doesn't have an escape value, so it's a 0. And we have passed the escape test. So let's go ahead and ready and move on to the next round. Raise our threat to 14. Draw a card. Ooh, we get a Secrecy Ally that we can put out for 1 resource. We gather 1 more resource there. And what are we going to play? And what I think I want to do is spend this 1 spirit resource on Ancient Matham. And we're going to attach this to this location we're about to quest through here. And after we quest through it, we then get to draw 3 cards, and that'll help us find that Song of Kings and a couple other cards I'm hoping to get to power up Aragorn so we can succeed at this quest. And we'll spend our other resource to put the Ring of Barahir on him, which then gives him the lore icon and increases his hit point by 1 for each artifact we have. So I'm going to use this red die here to track his current hit points. Now we'll go ahead and commit Aragorn to the quest with 4 willpower. And we're going up against 1. And we get a hill troll. And he is a big, nasty enemy, but his engagement cost is 30, which means we can leave him up there for a while. He only contributes 1 more, so we get to put 2 progress out. So 1 to finish this location, 1 on the quest. And now we get to activate the Ancient Matham, which lets us draw 3 cards. So we get the Song of Kings, yes, another Unexpected Courage, and Ragast Cunning. Excellent. So now we are going to perform our escape test. We'll exhaust Aragorn, and we get again, another escape 0, so we passed the escape test. And can I just say how much I love that Ancient Matham card? It's so thematic, with Matham being the word hobbits use for useless junk lying around their house. And I just realized I forgot to raise my threat for that treachery card last round, and now we're ready to move on to the next round. So we'll ready Aragorn, raise our threat to 16, and draw a card. We get the Ithilien Lookout, another secrecy ally. So we have our one resource. I think we're going to go ahead and play that Song of Kings that we just got. We really need to ramp up our resource generation, so we're going to play this now, and then in 2 more rounds, we'll just save up to play the Steward of Gondor, and that will allow us to start getting out a lot more cards in future rounds. So what we need to do now is just survive for a couple more rounds until we can do that. So let's commit to the quest for 4. We're going against 2. We draw Treachery, and this deals 1 damage to characters by someone with 35 threat or higher, so it doesn't affect us. We get to place out 2 progress onto the quest, and now we need to perform an escape test. So we will exhaust Aragorn, and we draw an escape 4, and we are putting 4 willpower against it, so we barely sneak by that escape test. And we'll leave those enemies up in the staging area again because they're only contributing 2 total threat. So we'll move on to the next round, raise our threat to 17. Readied Aragorn, got a resource, draw another Strider, and I think we're just going to go ahead and save that resource again for the Steward of Gondor next round. We could play one of these 2 allies, but we have until our threat reaches 20 or above 20 to still get a discount on them as secrecy cards. So they cost 3, but they're both secrecy 2, which while your threat is 20 or under means you get a discount of 2. So they only cost 1 resource each. So we're just gonna wait 1 more round, try and get that Steward of Gondor out, and then we can put out some allies as well. So we draw another Marsh Worm, so we have a total of 3 threat in the staging area, and we're questing for 4, so we get to place 1 progress out onto the quest. Now we exhaust for our escape test, and we get another escape 0. So we pass the test, we'll ready, and move on to the next round. Raise our threat to 18, gather a resource, get another card, we get another Steward of Gondor. We're just going to lay that right there, pay our 2 resources, and we'll go ahead and immediately exhaust this to put those 2 resources back out, and now to decide what we want to do with those in this round. And we're going to go ahead and put both of these resources to play both of these secrecy allies, and this first one lets us look at the top card of the encounter deck, and if it is a location we could discard it, and it is an enemy, so we're just going to go ahead and go play our next ally, the Ithilien Lookout, and he has that same ability, but now if it's an enemy we have the option to discard it, and I think that's what I want to do because I don't really want the surge keyword to activate, so we'll test our luck there. Now let's go ahead and commit to the quest. So we're going to send Aragorn, and we are controlling more than 2 characters, so he does have to exhaust to quest now. So we're sending 4 with him. We have 3 in the staging area, and we draw another Treachery card here. And this has to remove 4 progress from the current quest, which is exactly how much we have on the quest. So we have to remove that. We have no way to cancel it. We are back to 0 progress on the quest. Now we need to perform our escape test. So we will send the Kelduin Traveler and Ithilien Lookout for a total of 3 willpower, and we draw an escape 2, so we succeed in the escape test. So we'll ready all of our characters and raise our threat to 19. Draw a card, we get another Master of the Forge. Now we can gain our resources, and we get to exhaust that Steward of Gondor, grab 2 more resources. And now with those 3, I think we will play another Unexpected Courage on to Aragorn. Now we have 1 more resource available, and I think we're just going to hang on to that in case we need to use the Test of Will to cancel any encounter cards that come out. So let's commit to the quest. We'll send Aragorn for 4, and we'll just go ahead and ready him now with that Unexpected Courage. I don't think we'll be engaging any enemies this turn again, so we'll send the Kelduin Traveler, but we'll keep the Ithilien Lookout up just in case. So we're questing for 6. We draw a 2-threat location. I mean, there's 5 in the staging area. We get to place 1 progress onto the quest. Now for the escape test, Ithilien Lookout only has 1 willpower, so we'll send Aragorn for 4. And we will draw 2 escape, so we do pass that escape test again. We'll travel to this location, which requires us to place 1 resource onto Gollum. So we'll put that there. And now we need to decide if we want to optionally engage any of these enemies in the staging area. And again, we are not quite ready to take them on, so I'm going to leave them up there. We're ready for the next round. We can raise our threat to 20, and we'll gain our resources. Using that Steward of Gondor, we now have 4 resources, and we draw a magic ring. This is a very good card that gives us a little more flexibility and more readying power with Aragorn as well. And I think... should I play the Master of the Forge or the Ring? I think I'm going to play the Master of the Forge just to let us get a few more of those attachments out that are still in the deck. We'll play him out, exhaust him, make a look at the top 5 cards of my deck for an attachment, and then add it to my hand. And the one in here that I do not have yet is these Ranger Boots. So I'm going to take this one here, put this on Aragorn, and this will allow him to ready anytime a location is revealed from the encounter deck. So again, just another opportunity to ready to make it through this quest with just 1 hero. Now with these last 2 resources, I could play the Magic Ring, but I think instead we'll go ahead and play these Ranger Boots right now, and then that'll let us save 1 resource in case we need to use a Test of Will. So place that here, and let's commit to the quest. So we can send Aragorn again for 4, of course, and then we'll send the Keldwin Traveler for another 2. So we have 6 against the 3 in the staging area. We get another Treachery, and this says to add 2 resources onto Gollum, or if you exhaust a lore hero, you can reduce this effect to 1 resource. And we could spend the Test of Will, but I think I'm just going to exhaust Aragorn because he does have that Ring of Bear here. He has the lore icon, so we will exhaust him to reduce that effect to 1 resource. And there are some cards that say the printed lore or whatever icon, but this one does not specify, so Aragorn should qualify, and we'll just place 1 resource on Gollum. And I need to pause the recording here to say that I forgot to put 3 progress out and to perform an escape test. Just note that the next encounter card was escape 0, so it does not change the outcome of the game. Now we can ready. Raise our threat to 21. We can gain our resources. We draw another copy of Ranger Boots, and now to decide what we want to put out with those 4 resources. Before we do anything though, I think we are going to exhaust the Master of the Forge to look through our top 5 cards and see if there are any attachments that we could play out this turn. And all of these we already have. We'll just take another copy of Steward of Gondor, put it in our hand, just to thin out our deck a little bit for later rounds. Now, to decide what we want to play out, and I think we want to put this Magic Ring out, which gives us another option to ready, but also gives us some extra resource generation in a pinch. And we have 2 more resources, and I think I want to put out this extra copy of the Master of the Forge, just to sift through our deck a little bit quicker to find those final attachments. So exhaust him, and we get another Ancient Matham, and I think that's what I want to take. We can attach this in one of the coming rounds to a location and get a few more cards pulled out of our deck. So now the deck is shuffled. Let's go ahead and commit to the quest. So we're going to send Aragorn questing for 4 and the Keldwin Traveler for another 2, and then we reveal another location. The Heart of the Marshes adds 3 more threat to the staging area. We are questing for 6, and there's 6 total in the staging area. So we're going to ready Aragorn to now commit to the escape test, and now to decide if I also want to send this Athelian Lookout or just Aragorn. And mostly I'm trying to decide if I want to engage any enemies at the end of this turn or keep them in the staging area one more time. Okay, I think we're just going to set Aragorn either way, and we get an escape 0. So we pass the test, and let's just go ahead and ready everybody. We'll keep those enemies up in the staging area. So we raise our threat to 22. We draw a card, and we get a Curious Brandybuck. So when a location is traveled to, he just pops out into play automatically. You don't have to pay anything for him, but then he is discarded after you travel through the location. So let's decide what we want to play out of our hand. We're going to spend 1 to put that Ancient Matham right there. And we're going to try and push through this location so we can travel to that 3-threat location that's up in the staging area after this turn. So now, do we want to play anything else with these 2 resources in our hand? And I think I'm just going to hold on to those resources and we'll commit to the quest. So we'll send everybody here for a total of 7 against the 6 in the staging area. And oh, I forgot, I wanted to actually use these guys' ability first before we move on. So there are no attachments in that first run. So let's shuffle and try again. And we get, oh, the Calabrian Stone. This is exactly what I wanted this round. So we are going to go ahead and play this now before the quest phase. I'm going to put this on Aragorn with his last 2 resources. This increases his willpower by 2. This couldn't have come at a more perfect time. So we now have 6 on Aragorn. Plus, we're going to take these other 2 here, giving us a total of 9 against the 6 in the staging area. And we pull a treachery. And this says we must make an immediate escape test using 2 cards. So we're going to ready Aragorn with 1 expected courage. And we'll exhaust him for the escape test with 6. And we're going to draw 2 cards from the top of the encounter deck. And we get a Marsh Worm with an escape 2 value and another Marsh Worm with an escape 2 value. So we have 4 escape value against our 6 willpower. So we pass the test, ready Aragorn with unexpected courage, raise our threat 1 from that treachery card, and then going to exhaust him again for the standard escape test. And we do pass that one as well with our 6 willpower. Now to place progress on the quest. There's 6 in the staging area. We quested for 9, so we get to place out 3 progress. So we do complete this active location, and because of the Ancient Matham, we get to draw 3 cards. So we get Radagast Cunning, another Ring of Bear here, and Arwen. So that'll be good to put her out into play. She provides 2 willpower and a defense boost. We'll try to get her out this next round, possibly. Now we can travel to this location, and traveling here allows us to activate the response from the Curious Brandybuck in our hand. So we can just put him out into play, and then after we quest through the location, he will be placed at the bottom of the deck. And this does lower Aragorn's willpower by 2 because that Strider attachment gives that boost only when you control 5 or fewer characters. So for now, we lower that, but the Brandybuck gives us 2 more. So we'll keep him out, and we're going to try to engage one of these enemies on the next round. So we'll ready all of our characters. And now we'll raise our threat up to 24. And draw a new card. We get Darren's Runes, which I think we'll probably use here right away. We grab our resources real quick first. Play this. It means we get to draw 2 more cards, and then we just discard 1 out of our hands. We get another copy of Arwen. And another Unexpected Courage. So let's discard that Ring of Bara here. We could play Arwen, but I think we're going to play this Unexpected Courage out onto Aragorn now, just to give another opportunity to ready throughout the round. And we'll save that last resource to use if we need the Test of Will. I'm going to activate the ability on these Masters of the Forge to see if we can get some attachments. We grab another Ancient Matham here from this first one. And we'll shuffle these back in. And really at this point, I've got so many cards in my hand, this isn't really necessary. I just like to push through just in case there's an extra card we could use. So the second time through, so there's Strider. That's the only attachment. So we'll just take that one again just to thin out the deck and get more cards in our hand as we draw throughout the coming rounds. And now let's go ahead and commit to the quest. Obviously sending Aragorn for 4. And we're going up against 3 in the staging area. And then we will send the Kelduin Traveler. That gives us 6 willpower against the 3 in the staging area, and I'd like to engage that worm, so we'll leave 2 allies readied, and we draw a counter card, we get a Treachery. And we've seen this one before. It says remove 4 progress from the current quest. We only have 2 on there, and so I think we're going to save our Test of Will for something worse than just 2 progress. And we do get to place 3 progress onto the active location. So now we're going to ready Aragorn, and then I want to engage one of those worms. So we'll bring this one down here, and we'll defend with our Curious Brandybuck. So he's exhausted to defend against the worm. And the worm has an attack of 3, and there's no shadow effect. Actually, I forgot to do an escape test. This would have been the escape card. So we'll exhaust Aragorn for the escape. We'll pass that. Now we'll ready him again with that other unexpected courage. And now this is the shadow card. And again, no shadow effect. So the worm attacks for 3. We lose our curious Brandy Bark. And now we're going to exhaust Aragorn and the Athelian Lookout to attack. And they are going to place 3 damage onto the worm. And then at the end of each round, its effect says to remove 2 damage from it. So now we're ready, everybody. And with 6 hit points, that worm is going to take a lot of rounds to defeat. But here we go. So let's raise our threat to 25. Now we can gain our resources. Our Steward of Gondor is exhausted, so we'll take those extra 2. And I put 1 too many there. So let's put that one back. Now we'll draw a card. Get another Master of the Forge. So what do we want to play out this time? And I think we're going to play this Ancient Madam because we're just about to quest through this location. And then we have 3 more resources. So we're going to play 1 more Expected Courage onto Aragorn. So now he's able to ready 3 times from an Unexpected Courage, once with the Ranger Boots if a location is revealed, and the Magic Ring. He has 5 readying effects here. And his willpower is boosted by 2 from Celebrian Stone and another 2 again after the Brandy Buck left from that Strider. So he's up at 6 willpower. And I forgot that his hit points also go up for each artifact. So he's currently at 8. So let's send him to the quest for 6. And then another 2 from the Keldwin and 1 from the Athelian Lookout. And that gives us 9 willpower, and there's only 2 in the staging area. And actually, we're just going to send the Keldwin Traveler because I want to use him to help with the attack on that worm later. So we're sending 8, and we get a location, and it says to add 1 resource to Gollum for each location in the staging area. This is the only location, so we're just going to add 1 resource there. It takes 12 progress to quest through, but it only adds 1 threat to the staging area, so we're just going to leave it up there as long as we can, I think. But we do quest through this active location, and we could put out 5 progress onto the quest. And now we can activate this Ancient Madam, so we'll draw another 3 cards. Curious Brandybuck, Warden of Healing, and another Song of Kings. Now because a location was revealed from the encounter deck, we can ready Aragorn with the Ranger Boots, and now we'll exhaust him again for the escape test. It's an escape 0, so we are successful. And like I said, we're going to keep that location up there instead of traveling. So onto the combat phase. We could defend with Aragorn, but I think we're going to defend with this Master of the Forge. So we draw the shadow card, no shadow effect. We will lose the Master of the Forge, which is somewhat intentional because I'd like to place out Arwen while still getting Aragorn's boost from Strider. So let's now put these 2 to the attack. 3 damage on the worm. End of the round, have to take 2 off. So we're putting 1 damage per round on the worm. That's okay. We'll raise our threat to 26. And we'll ready all our characters and attachments. Draw another Song of Kings. And gain our resources. So we have 4 resources. And I think I want to play out Arwen now. So pay 2. And again, she's going to give us 2 willpower as well as a defense bonus anytime she exhausts. So my hope is with her on the table and Aragorn with all of his goodies attached, we can now quest through quickly to win the game. And there's nothing else I want to play from my hand, so let's go ahead and commit to the quest. And we'll send Aragorn, Keldwin Traveler, and Arwen. And that's going to give us 6, 8, 9, 10 to the quest here. And I'm just going to put this out to note that defense bonus that she's giving to Aragorn this turn. And we have 3 in the staging area. We draw a Treachery. So we now have to make an immediate escape test with 2 cards. So we'll ready Aragorn, and we'll commit him to the escape test for 6. And we get an escape 2 and escape 1. So we pass with an excess of 3 willpower. So now let's go ahead and ready Aragorn again, so that he's ready for the next escape test. But before we do that, let's place out progress. We get to put out 7, and we've completed the first stage of the quest. After a tiring pursuit through the treacherous marshland, you have cornered Gollum and move in for the capture. Forced, after this stage is defeated, the first player chooses a player. That player must pass an escape test, dealing 1 card from the encounter deck for each resource token on Gollum to capture him. If Gollum is not captured at this time, reset the quest deck to stage 1B. If this final escape test is passed, the players have captured Gollum and won the game. Interrupting the playthrough for one more rules mistake, I forgot another escape test. But just note that Magic Ring does not get used this round, so I could have raised my threat by 1 to ready Aragorn again, still done everything the same, and taken on an escape test with 6 willpower. He could have handled anything coming out of the deck. This shouldn't have changed the outcome of the game at all. Now we can return back to the combat phase, so we will exhaust Aragorn to defend with his defense bonus, and the worm gets an attack bonus of 1, so Aragorn does take 1 damage beyond that 3 defense, and then we'll just mark that here on this die, moving that down 1, and now we'll ready him with that other unexpected courage, then we'll exhaust him and the Ithilien Lookout again to place 3 damage, and we need to then at the end of the round take 2 of those off, so 1 by 1 we're going to take this worm out. So this deck is not built for combat, it is built to sneak by and quest through. So let's ready and move on to the next round, raise our threat to 27, and gather our resources, draw a card. We get another Curious Brandybuck. Okay, to decide what to play out of my hand, if anything, this round. And I think we're just going to go ahead and quest. So we're going to send Aragorn for 6, Keldwin for 2, R1 for another 2, and she gives that same bonus to Aragorn, so he's got a 3 defense. And that's giving us 10 against the 3 in the staging area, and we pull a Treachery. So we have to make an escape test with 2 cards, but counting our attack strength instead of our willpower this time. So I'm going to ready Aragorn, and then commit him to this escape test. And I do want to attack that worm again at the end of this round if needed, so we're just going to send Aragorn and hope the 3 is enough. So there's an escape 0 and escape 3. So we just barely sneaked by on that escape test. Now we have 10 willpower up against the 3 in the staging area, so we get to place 7 progress out onto the quest. And only 3 is needed, so we have completed the stage of the quest, which means we need to make the final escape test, which is going to be 1 card for each resource on Gollum. So we're going to ready Aragorn again here and commit him to the escape 3 test, and we're also going to send the Ithilien Lookout to add 1 more. So we're taking 7, and that's an escape 0, escape 2, and escape 2. And that is it. We have successfully completed the final escape test. We have captured Gollum on this hunt through the dead marshes and won the game. Thank you so much for joining me for this playthrough of the Lord of the Rings, the card game here on Wolfgame. Be sure to take a moment to like the video and subscribe for additional playthroughs. And take a moment to comment down below what you'd like to see next in this series. What cycles or quests, what heroes you'd like to see in the deck, and I'll take those into account. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.